Are you serious? Are you serious, folks, with law enforcement taking a very low-key approach as the occupation continues at an Oregon federal wildlife refuge? Now think about this. As President Barack Obama is leaving Hawaii on his way home from an extended Christmas vacation, he's coming home to the White House, he said, to pick up a pen and a phone and to make executive orders of which would tighten up or make it more difficult for American citizens to acquire a firearm. This Second Amendment right, again, being challenged by the president. Meanwhile, in Oregon, there are law enforcement are saying that a group of men armed with guns a day earlier had seized control of a federal wildlife refuge there in Oregon, about 30 miles outside of town, in protest of the federal prosecution of 2 ranchers in the area. There are no signs of confrontation at the small refuge headquarters building, seized in what the protesters said was a bid to reclaim local control of federally managed land. Now, folks, this is unreal, because what these guys are saying is the state, or the citizens of the state of Oregon, want to take back control of land that had been eminent domain, had been seized by the federal government. Quote, "Please maintain a peaceful and united front and allow us to work through this situation," said Harney County Sheriff Dave Ward in a statement. But county officials announced that schools would remain closed through the week pending a resolution. Those leading what amounts to be an armed occupation at the small remote building say they are the vanguard of a national movement to resist the government's ownership of vast stretches of land in the West. Folks, this is big. This is big because people are getting tired of losing the control of their own land in their own states. Matter of fact, for quite a while now, the federal government has been so overreaching that the states are not even allowed to run their own states. I mean, basically, they're being held hostage either through federal funds or subsidies, or in these cases, large amounts of beautiful land that could have been controlled by the state or local counties are being now managed and controlled by the federal government, and the people are finding it very difficult to even be able to access it. Now, this goes on to say the move began Saturday after an earlier peaceful rally near Burns, Oregon, where more than 150 people gathered in support of the 2 ranchers who are facing additional jail time for arson. A small armed breakaway faction from the protests moved on to the wildlife refuge, which was closed and empty. Dozens of protesters who marched through the town of Burns, Oregon, called for the federal government to back down its enforcement of public lands regulations. We're here to stand up for our brothers and sisters and show the world, show America. You mess with us, you mess with all of us, said co-organizer Jeff Roberts at this gathering. This isn't an Oregon problem. This is a national problem, and it's happening everywhere, he said. Dwight Hammond, age 73, and his son Stephen Hammond, age 46, said they set fires in 2001 and in 2006 to reduce the growth of invasive plants and protect their property from wildfires. The 2 were convicted of the arsons 3 years ago and are serving time. Dwight 3 months, Stephen a year, but a judge ruled their terms were too short under federal law and ordered them back to prison for about 4 years each. Can he do that? I mean, that sounds totally unconstitutional and almost like double jeopardy, to be quite honest. So Hammond has said he and his son plan to report to prison Monday in San Pedro as ordered by a judge, but the decision has generated controversy across the West. Protesters at the Burns rally came from as far away as Idaho and Nevada and Arizona. It's about this community being trampled on, said one of the organizers, who did not identify himself, and said that he stood on the bed of a pickup truck in the parking lot of the local Safeway supermarket. This is the public saying, we're not going to take it anymore. We've had it. The people of the Republic are tired. And it starts right here in this parking lot, guys, is unquote what he said. The procession stopped briefly at the Hammond's home, where supporters greeted the elder Hammond, age 73, who's going back to prison for 4 years after serving a year, on the front porch, and they sang Amazing Grace. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. Folks, this is beginning. Things are starting. There's a groundswell beginning. Take America back. Take America back. And basically, folks are going to do more than just say the phrase. They're going to stand up for what they think is correct and right. And it's a serious issue. Starting to build steam in the West Coast and across the nation. We need to pray for America. I say we take America back by prayer. We stand up for what's right. We need to pray for these folks. This probably needs to end, though. But they are making a stand. I mean, the government has allowed Occupy Wall Street to sit around for 4 and 5 months in the streets. You got to leave these guys alone and let them have their time. We'll see if Obama will, though. We'll see just exactly how this will shake out. We're going to talk about it and pray for these guys and pray for this country, because this overreaching government, literally overreaching, you can only tax the people so long. You can overreach them so long. You can only impose on them your will so long. And finally, people start pushing back. Has America reached the brink? Are you serious? Are you serious? Give your life to Jesus Christ. He still is the only answer. He always has been, and he always will be.